GED, HiSET, TASC. What's the difference? What are all of these tests? Welcome to Purely Persistent. I'm Michelle. In today's video, we are going to cover these three tests, the difference, as well as a little bit of a history lesson in what brought us to this point today. Before we get started, if you know anyone that did not graduate from high school, please do them and me a favor by sharing this video, by sharing my channel. Help me to grow this channel to empower others to receive their full potential and earn their high school equivalency certificate. All right, fun fact. 20 million people in the United States and Canada have received their high school equivalency certificate. Pretty amazing, right? Now, you'll oftentimes hear people talk about GED, HiSET, TASC, and not really know what the difference is. Maybe someone says they're getting their GED or they're getting their HiSET, but what does this really mean? So basically, you're not getting any of those. You are getting your HiSEC. How's that for another acronym? It is a high school equivalency certificate. So all of these tests up here are really just a means to getting your high school equivalency certificate. It's kind of like, tissue versus Kleenex, right? Versus puffs. They're all sort of the same thing. They're all what you use to blow your nose with, but they're just different brands. So these here are different brands. Let's have our little history lesson. 1942. What happened around that time? World War II. The government sent many men that were in high school overseas to go serve our country. When the men arrived back, they were too old for high school. So the government created the General Education Diploma. General Education Diploma, GED. And basically, the men were able to achieve a high school equivalency certificate, a general education diploma. And this then became available for any adult that did not quite finish high school. And it was in partnership with the State Department for Education. And this continued on for about 30 years. Then it was revised a couple of times. 1972, a little bit broader academically. And then in 1988, an essay was added for a little bit of a writing sample. 2002, more questions were added, and questions that were more relevant to adults. Then came the biggie. 2014. GED was once a non-profit organization in partnership with the State Department of Education, and then it was sold to a for-profit company. Now, we don't want to have a monopoly going here, so the government opened up these GED tests, or the high school equivalency tests, to other publishing company, and that is where HiSET and TASC came into place. So with these three tests available, you may be wondering, well, which test is the easiest? Which test should I take? Bad news for you. None of them are the easiest. They are all difficult tests. They are high school equivalency tests. And all of them align with the CCRS. Yep, the band. No, not the band. This is actually college and career readiness standards. Maybe you've heard in school, the grade schools and high schools, they talk about Common Core standards. This is similar, except it's what is used on the HiSET, GED, that sort of thing. So when the teachers are teaching the information, they make sure that it aligns with these standards so that you are actually prepared and ready to go and take the test. But you can't just take the test anywhere. You need to take it at an official testing center. So if you ever hear someone saying that they got their GED online and it was only $500, Well, guess what they just did? They just wasted $500. You can only take the test at an official testing center. Official test center. You guys, this is huge. If you take tests at other places, they are simply not going to be valid. Okay, so let's take a little bit of a deeper look into each of the tests. So we have the GED, the HiSET, and the TASC. And as I mentioned before, each one of them is owned by a publisher. So GED is owned by Pearson, HiSET, ETS, and TASC is DRC. Now here's a fun fact with the TASC test. If you took the TABE test or the TAB test that a lot of centers require you to take when you first enter, that is the same brand as the TASC test. Okay, next, subjects. The GED has 4 subject areas. There's language art, which composes reading and writing. There's also social studies, science, and math. Now, HiSET and TASC both have 5 different tests with reading and writing broken into 2 different tests, as well as social studies, science, and math. Now, all 3 of the tests do have a writing component. So it's really important to make sure that you do have a good solid understanding of how to write an argumentative essay, which I will be creating a video on here coming up. Okay, the type, GED, it's offered on just the computer. So if you're computer savvy, it's a nice one for you to take. Whereas HiSET and TASC are either on the computer or on the paper. And depending upon what state you're at, maybe you can do a combination of paper versus computer, or maybe you have to commit to doing all 5 subject areas in the computer or all 5 subject areas on paper. It really just depends upon your state. Now, passing, they're all a little bit different. So GED, 145 per subject. HiSET, an 8, with a total of 45 in all of the 5 subject areas, and the TASC, 500 per test. The cost. The cost varies completely depending upon what test you're taking and what state you live in. Some tests might cost $50 to $100 to $150 depending upon where you're at, and some places like New York, the test is absolutely free. The state takes care of the cost for you. Thank you for watching until the end of the video. Do me a huge favor and click that subscribe button, and also comment in the comment box below, what test will you take? Are you going to take the GED, the HiSET, or the TASC? Now you go have a beautiful day. If anyone hasn't told you already, you are important and I believe in you.